This is the EVP Podcast. You damn right you're listening to the EVP Podcast. What's up, everybody? We're your hosts. I'm Ghosty.
And I'm Beaker.
And we're back for another episode.
Yes.
What the hell? What are we on? 170 something now?
2?
Yep, 2.
172.
We're getting up there. We're bound to get famous soon. We're bound to be able to buy this ghost yacht. And we're gonna set.
Oh, we're still on that. I think we're settling for a ghost scooter at this point.
Skateboard
Hop on, guys. Let's go.
even, man. Some wheels.
No, razor scooter.
So there was some ghostly activity going on over the weekend. You went to we were at Benson Grist. We were at Benson Grist Mill, but you had some experiences.
Nope.
No, you didn't.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you did. I heard about it.
What did you experience?
I didn't really do much investigating. I was just there for a little bit, but
There were no girls there.
but I just went to the barn to see if I can get that spirit to interact and throw something again, but I couldn't. Didn't seem like that spirit was in there, but it seemed like there was another spirit in there, but it wasn't the same one.
No, because he was hanging out with me.
Yeah.
All the bad guys showed up and they're just like, oh,
They cornered you?
Yeah, they pretty much.
Pulled on your red beard?
Oh, they tried. I started in the amphitheater, which is someone nowhere really investigates.
Right, because it's kind of wide open. It is
right,
wide open.
But it's one of the best places there to investigate, to be honest with you. I've had a lot of activity in the amphitheater. But I could tell there was kind of like, there's this spirit there. I don't remember if anyone was like given it like a name or a title or anything. I just know this thing likes to try to make itself look like it's like 11 feet tall, somewhere in there, between 9 and 11 feet tall. And I've actually seen it before, like crouched down, like crawling towards us at the fire pit. And as soon as we pointed it out, it kind of disappeared. But when I was at the amphitheater, there's a little fence on the one side, like the stage area side. And then there's that little creek that goes between the property.
Uh-huh.
And I could tell just on the other side of the fence, there was like a not happy spirit. And then across the little creek, there was the one that likes to be big.
Okay.
And the energy was just so off and different for me, like the entire night.
Interesting.
There was one spirit we found out that's learned how to like kind of camouflage herself.
Camouflage?
Camouflage.
She knows how to camouflage?
Yeah. Camouflage herself from other spirits. One in particular. There's just a whole lot going on there, which we thought was kind of cool. Like, oh, I didn't know they could do that. But apparently they can. And it was a little bit later, I ended up in the mill, the big mill.
Uh-huh.
And I called you. I said,
Right.
Hey, where are you at?
I'm like, I'm already back.
You're like, I went home because I'm a little girl.
Like, I'm going to get scared tonight. I just know
it was
it.
scary stuff was going to happen. And it did. I called you because I wanted to do the SS method because we seem to have really good results.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not even reading anything and I can't talk.
Gosh.
Oh, man. Where'd you find this guy?
It's not even your day today.
No, it's not. But I wanted to do the SS method, like I said. And you weren't there.
I'm sorry.
So I was going to call somebody else. I originally had someone else in mind that I was going to call that I knew I was there because I just walked away from this person. But for whatever reason, I called you first.
Because you missed me.
I did. Oh, that's so sad. I don't know if I've talked about it on the show before, but there's a spirit in the mill named Kyle that does not like me ever since I told him to leave people alone.
I yelled at him for you.
Oh, that's right. You did.
That probably pissed him off a little bit more.
Probably. So I was kind of feeling like, someone or there was a spirit that really wanted to communicate through the SS method, which is not like a normal request I get from a spirit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, when's the last time you were on investigation and we both got like, oh, hey, the spirit really wants to talk to us through the SS method?
Never.
Not once. But I was getting that strong vibe that it really wanted to. And my friend Allie was there and she was picking up that like this entity that wanted to talk through the SS method wanted to know what it was like to basically control a human body. And that right there is kind of a red flag.
Uh-huh.
But me without thinking, and you've seen me on investigations, I don't really provoke anything.
No.
So I'm walking around the corner. I look down the stairs to the basement of the mill, and I'm like, "Fuck you, Kyle. I don't want to talk to you.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Fuck you, Kyle." And then I go walk around the corner where that little bench area is, and I just stopped, and it was kind of like the Washoe Club all over again, where I just felt like I was being controlled by something.
You want to fuck me? Don't fuck you.
Pretty much. The thing is like Kyle's a human spirit. That's not something that he can do. It was something else. It was mad because I had some friends there that know how to help spirits get to other places so they're not trapped at locations. And they were mad at me for bringing people that could do that. And so this one spirit,
fuck you, Kyle,
pretty much kind of took over, took a hold of the steering wheel. And it was weird because like
it was ratatouilleing giving you their old ratatouille.
100%. Never seen that movie.
All right, but yeah,
I know what it is.
That was
though.
you.
It's a little rat pulls his hair under his hat.
You were being totally ratatouille.
I was ratatouilled, and it was funny because like right after all this kind of went down, I guess our friend Terry, the Finlays, had this like feeling like they needed to come to the big mill, so they actually showed up like right as this all started going down. And they're like, "Oh no, not again! What did he do this time?" But we were able to kind of do some energy work, and they said some prayers, and we were able to kind of get the thing to
get the rat off your head.
Got the rat back.
Got the damn rat off your head.
Got it to go away.
I like that terminology.
Ratatouille.
You were ratatouille.
Oh, we'll just have to throw that in every episode from now on.
Oh, shit.
Add it to the list of the bell rings because we don't use the bell anymore.
Oh yeah, we haven't for all. Brandy, hi Brandy.
All right.
So this week we are going to a place that I have heard of but have never been to, but I did not know it was as crazy as it is.
Well, it's mainly crazy because it's where the soda comes from.
Exactly, the crazy soda. So we're talking about Mount Shasta up in Northern California.
All right.
So have you heard of it before?
Probably. It sounds familiar, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I've heard of things about it here and there, and probably some weird stories from the place, but nothing that really, stuck out to me. But anyways, why is it so special? Mount Shasta is a stratovolcano. It's a composite volcano that reaches a soaring height of 4,322 meters, about 14,179 feet. That's about what our mountains are here in the Uintas, right?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
But like other volcanoes of this type, it has more classic conical shape, which is formed by 4 distinct overlapping volcanic cones. This makes it striking and easily visible landmark, which it's complete with snow-capped faces and is an ideal site for mountaineers, hikers, campers, and skiers. But it also has long been the travel destination for more spiritually minded visitors who seek a less than conventional holiday. Every year, thousands of people descend on the mountain with the hope of communicating with the beyond, the terrestrial, other terrestrial, and the geological. There are tourist guides and attractions dedicated to meditation, vision quests, and other New Age activities that try to tap into the mountain's various alleged spiritual hotspots.
Do you know how much they charge for something like this?
No, how much?
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
I think it's free to go in there. It's like a national park. So whatever the national park fee is what it costs.
Probably like $4 million.
$4 million a year, guys.
Damn
That's like a cup of coffee a day.
Yeah. Two.
So
cups of coffee.
They found artifacts there that suggest that civilization inhabitants has been there for about 9,000 years, which makes it the longest occupied area in the country. The tribes who live around the mountain today include the Shasta, the Wintu, Akomawi, Atsugewi, the Modoc, and the Klamath people. And according to their traditional stories, the mountain is inhabited by various spirits and guardians. One of these spirits is Chief Skell, and he is said to have descended onto the mountaintop from heaven. During his conflicts with other primordial spirits from the underworld, Chief Skell caused various eruptions on the mountainside and its neighbors. Other prominent indigenous figures, such as Jimokumok, oh, what the hell? Jimokumok, which is the creator, is said to have lived on the mountain. And according to the Modoc people, the bones of their long dead ancestors were buried on the mountain. They also believe there's a creature known as the Matakagmi, or Bigfoot, and he inhabits and protects the surrounding woodlands. And then there's this crazy whole other thing about the Lumerians, about people that live in the mountains. So there's like a whole race of people that live in the mountains as well.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you tell us about those folks?
All right, here we go. One of the current stories about the Mount Shasta is that it is home to the underground and highly advanced city of Telos, or the City of Light, which is inhabited by the Lumerians. Have you ever held like a Lumerian crystal?
No.
Like quartz or smoky quartz?
Oh, okay. That's a Lumerian
no, well,
crystal?
so what makes it Lumerian, and I don't know if this is related or not, but what makes a piece of quartz Lumerian quartz is it has like these little kind of grooves or lines in it, and it said that these lines like contain records.
From the Lumerians?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So if you put it up to a light, can you just like see?
You can see the lines. I don't know how.
Kidding?
You can see the lines, but you don't. I don't know how to like access like the information in the crystals, if that's even a thing. That's just what it's said. Like Lumerian crystals, have in them. So like you've seen like a piece of like clear quartz where it's just kind of clear all the way through. And Lumerian, like I said, it's just like these kind of lines, like lines on a book.
Okay,
it's pretty cool looking. I have a piece of Lumerian smoky quartz I'll have to show you.
I guess it would have to come out of Mount Shasta.
Maybe. Okay, so these were people that were descendants of human or humanoid beings who once lived on the lost continent of Lemuria. Now, according to an idea proposed in the 19th century, there was once a large landmass that disappeared into the waters of the Indian Ocean. Now, if it existed, this landmass, which was Lemuria, would help explain why lemur fossils have been found in Madagascar and India, but nowhere else in Africa or the Middle East. Now, for those that believe the Lemurians are now snuggled up under Mount Shasta, the sunken continent did not disappear below the Indian Ocean, but was instead lost in the Pacific thousands of years ago. Now, those who survived the catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
Didn't I mess up this word last week too?
Catastrophe.
Those who society. Oh my
god. Those for sure. Catastrophe.
Yep. The people that lived during this very bad time took up residence under the mountain where they built their crystalline city. I can say that one.
That was good. I would have messed that up.
Now, ever since then, people have claimed to see Lemurians wandering around the area. They're apparently 2.1 meters tall, or approximately 7 feet tall. They have long hair and wear white robes and sandals. So they look like the Druids?
No, yeah.
Because the Druids kind of were the same way. Like,
yeah, I think these have white hair. Like, all have white hair.
Okay. Now, of course, they are also said to be psychic and have other superpowers that let them move through space and time.
I heard they're like telepathic. And like they just talk to you, telepathically.
Is that where the psychic powers come in? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So there's also tons of stories about aliens and UFOs that's been going on for decades. Visitors to the mountain have reported various extraterrestrial experience, sightings, and encounters. It is also likely that the mountain was the birthplace of the first UFO religion, the I Am Activity cult that appeared in the 1930s. Sounds exciting. A number of people, in fact, reached out to a researcher looking to gather stories and information for a book on Bigfoot and UFO sightings. A woman named Rudy emailed to report that she'd seen a bright disc hovering above Mount Shasta. She attached a photo from a ski resort snow cam that showed a luminous speck. There was a man named Larry who recounted his own research, including telepathic communication with them, conducted in preparation for the day extraterrestrials would reveal themselves to Earthlings. There were secondhand accounts that flowed in about the forest ranger who casually spoke of spotting a Bigfoot east of McLeod, and the deer hunting couple from Weed who came across a bright chrome vessel on a dark mountain road. In 2008, the Mount Shasta Herald reported that 5 people claimed to have witnessed a jellyfish-like craft that hovered noiselessly over neighboring McLeod, with what appeared to be a fire raging inside of it. And there was another person last name Padula, who said as a teen, she had once saw 3 small triangular crafts hovering noiselessly in formation. Her boyfriend, sister, and future in-laws watched with her. She said, I do know what I saw. I don't know that it was anything extraterrestrial, but it was definitely unidentifiable to me. God,
So I've always said that about UFOs, where it's like, it's literally just means unidentified.
Like, I don't know what it is,
Right.
but, you know,
So
I sure am seeing something, though.
yeah, no, I've been saying that for years. Is UFO? It's you don't know what it is. Doesn't mean it's got aliens in it. It's
Right. It
just-
doesn't mean that it's
that's-
alien. It's just that you don't know what it is.
right, and that's exactly what she's saying here.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked how she worded that.
No,
it's just it was hard to spit it out.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to hear people that have like the same train of thought.
Right. Yeah.
In that matter, it's just like I still struggle with
Words.
some of the alien races and the words that I've made up. There are some alien races I believe are possibilities, but
Yeah.
there's others that I'm just like, and it's funny because the ones I don't believe in are the ones that are most commonly reported.
Well, I don't know. I believe in grays.
I don't.
See, I believe that there's a lot of stuff with grays.
But
But
the grays are the most commonly reported.
Right.
They're the ones I struggle believing.
I don't know. Those seem like the most likely. But
No, the Nordics to me seem more likely.
so there's a lot of reports of the mountain actually opening up and huge crafts that fly out of it.
I saw that in a movie once. I think it's the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Blackwing.
Yep. That's what
They
exactly.
hide it- they
That's
hide it-
exactly how it would look.
They hide it
Exactly.
under the basketball
Yes.
court and it flies out the side of the mountain. Or it's Batman.
Yeah. Oh shit! I just lost my spot.
Batman. That's okay. It's right there.
All right.
On February 12th, 2020, Mount Shasta became the focus of international attention when people began photographed an enormous UFO looming above its peak. On close inspection or a passing glance, really, the UFO turned out to be a
Lenticular.
lenticular cloud.
Cloud.
Now, these clouds often form on mountainsides and can have a particularly UFO-like shape, depending on where you're standing. However, they remain an earthly phenomenon.
So yeah, this was all over the news and everything when this came out. And I remember seeing pictures of it. There was just like these disc-like clouds that were stacked on top of each other. Do you remember seeing that?
I don't.
So I remember seeing that, but I did not know that was Mount Shasta. So when I seen that, I was like, I remembered that. I remember
That's
seeing
pretty
that.
cool.
There was also this weird 60-foot hole that came out of nowhere.
As they do. I think we call them sinkholes.
Yeah, but this wasn't a sinkhole. This was obviously dug out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there was this enormous cavity that measured 60 feet in depth, mysteriously just appeared on the flank of the Mount Shasta. Despite its considerable size, there was evidence suggesting that the excavation process was carried out manually under the cover of night, utilizing a rudimentary pulley mechanism for dirt removal.
So they watched Shawshank Redemption.
So it was, just like a manual dirt removal, but it just was so weird that it happened, all in the cover of night. Randomly, that spot was picked out, and they just one time only, just a huge 60-foot cavity.
I saw that in the movie once, too. I think it was Alien vs. Predator.
Probably.
And they dug the tunnel down so they could get to the temple.
Yeah, they had to get to it quick.
Yeah.
That was a quick one. The hole was swiftly filled in by the Forest Service. Let's see. Yeah, so the Forest Service ended up filling it back in with dirt. The primary reason was,
Safety concerns.
safety concerns. Yes.
They were worried people were going to get hurt.
So the cavity, which was clandestinely dug on National Forest property in 2009, was deemed unlawful. The hole's dimensions were approximately 15 feet wide and 60 feet deep, and a pulley mechanism was found suspended from a wire connected to 2 nearby trees. In addition, nearby trees had been marked with paint, the traces of which faded over time. And at the time of the incident, Carmen Kinch, a U.S. Forest Service law enforcement officer, claimed to know the party responsible for the hole. Her assumption was that they were prospecting for valuable minerals. However, Kinch's lead did not lead to any significant developments. The hole's origin has sparked numerous theories, each reflecting a different aspect of Mount Shasta's diverse local population. Unfortunately, the origins of the hole will probably remain a mystery, just like the many unanswered questions forever surrounding Mount Shasta.
Let's go to there.
Yes. Why don't you tell us about your ancestors?
Okay, so I am very loosely related to the Sasquatch family. I come from a very lesser-known line called Ginger Squatches, and they came from outer space. So actually, the Modoc people who lived in the Klamath Basin, which is just a little north of Mount Shasta, they believe that the mountain is home to the Matagami, which, again, it's their word for Bigfoot. Now, in the Modoc culture, Bigfoot is known as the protectors of the woods. Is it Bigfoot or Big Feet? What would the plural of that be? Bigfoot. Where's the Queen of Cryptids when you need her? Nicole,
It would be...
text us. So there's this Bigfoot scenic byway, right? The byway is in northwestern California, and it is known for having the most Bigfoot sightings in the country. The byway begins at the Wichipec and heads northeast along the Klamath River.
So there's a bunch of other weird reports that go on there as well. So we'll start back here in 1962. I've never heard of this company before. I guess because it's in Australia, but this article was written in the Australian Flying Saucer Review. Just big headlines, I bet.
Oh, okay.
So they published an article by Andrew Thomas, which talks about a strange event that took place. And according to Thomas's article, a forest fire had apparently ravaged a large portion of Mount Shasta. And this happened in 1931. Locals had reported a curious phenomenon which saved the mountain from being taken over by the fire. And as the fire began to advance, something miraculous happened. A mysterious fog appeared, and it rolled out of the mountain itself. So this fog just comes rolling out, and it halted the blaze in its tracks. It stopped it from doing any more damage, and it pretty much just like engulfed the fire.
Interesting.
And put the fire out. It ended up after it was extinguished, it left like this line that was like a perfect clear curved zone where it was like untouched from the fire and then burnt. There was no like carryover of like dying stuff. It was just like the way the fire was coming, it just completely stopped, and you could see a line from that. Sorry, I'm over here getting excited.
I know. Get excited in the microphone.
And at this time, no one could explain this anomaly or why it had even taken place.
That's kind of cool.
That is way cool. So something was like in the mountain trying to protect itself.
My ancestors.
And they knew how to do it with
their
farts.
They did their rain dance, and they brought the magic rain cloud.
Tell us about this next one. What do we got here?
I don't want to. In 1934, the Stockton Record told of a very bizarre, I just stuttered, account that took place in 1904. A British prospector named J.C. Brown, who had come to Mount Shasta with Lord Calder Mining Company to search for gold. One day, while exploring the mountains, Brown stumbled upon a tunnel in the hillside of the mountain that led down into darkness. Now, of course, he was very intrigued by this. He wanted to venture a little further down inside. The tunnel weaved and stretched and went on for miles and miles into the darkness, but would eventually lead Brown into a complex of rooms all filled with a variety of different kinds of treasures and stones. Now, in fact, there was one room that had held archaeological discoveries. They had mummies in there.
Mummies?
Mummies, I say. Mummies were underneath Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta.
That was good. Oh, shit.
Now, Brown was very ecstatic by his discovery of me being able to mispronounce words, but also the discovery about his discovery here And he claimed it was one of the most exciting archaeological finds of the century. If the century. I was going to say if. I incorrectly said that word. Now, his account eventually caught the attention of an expedition led by John C. Root, who had about 80 members.
80 members.
80 members. They set out to further explore the tunnel. However, on the day the exploration was set to begin, which was June 19th, 1934, J.C. Brown was nowhere to be found. In fact, he was never seen again. This strange disappearance has led to many questions of the authenticity of Brown's claims and the existence of the mysterious underground complex with treasure and mummies that he supposedly found. Now, despite this, many modern explorers have claimed to have found Brown's hidden tunnel, although its location and even its existence still remains a mystery.
They found his hidden brown tunnel.
I didn't think they did. You know what? He probably didn't think there was someone that was actually going to fund the excavation, so he's just like, oh, shit, they're going to know.
I got to get out of here.
I'm out.
Yeah, it's like 1904. I'm pretty sure it's easy to disappear.
Probably, or there was something there that the mummies got him.
You know what? They could have.
It was the mummies.
But you know what I mean? Why wouldn't he have taken some of those minerals, some of those jewels or whatever?
Right.
If they were there, I would have taken some to show proof.
Like, yeah.
Like, hey
look
guys,
what I
I saw some shit and I found some mummies and shit. And if they were like, yeah, right, prove it. Like, jewels, bitch.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh shit, we should probably fund something and go explore.
Yeah, and that would make more sense.
So this next story involves a 3-year-old child who went missing in the Shasta forest for roughly 5 hours.
I think this is where I've heard of Mount Shasta. This story?
Yeah.
This sounds familiar.
So I had heard of this as well. So this story was originally popularized and told by a Mr. David Paulinus, whatever. But according to the witnesses, the child was gone within a second. Other campers in the area were questioned about his disappearance, but then the boy would suddenly reappear. And he ended up telling a story that was simply out of this world. He claimed that he had been abducted by a robot double of his grandma and taken to a cave filled with spiders and humans. And the humans looked like and acted like robots. And apparently the boy was asked to poop on a sticky piece of paper. And when he was asked to do so, he said he didn't have to go. And his robot grandma got mad at him. He also talked about a light coming out of her forehead. And that's all he said about that whole situation. But he was just gone for 5 hours, just completely vanished in thin air, came back just out of thin air and said that he was with a robot version of his grandma.
That's just so weird. Like, okay, let's say there's these like alien robots, right? Poop on a stick?
No, poop on a stick. Poop on a sticky piece of paper.
Sticky piece of paper.
Poop on a stick.
Poop on a stick. Piece of paper. That's still weird.
That's very weird. I wonder if they were trying to gather data.
I'm sure
the
they
robots
have other
needed
ways
to gather data from his poop.
I'm sure they have.
How are they gonna? They're gonna know.
I guess
everything
it's a
about
less
them.
invasive way of getting DNA.
Yeah, very less. It's getting things out instead of putting things in.
Yes,
I'm all about that. So the very same grandma who was thought to have had this double of her also had something bizarre happen to her. So she had this thing happen while camping at Mount Shasta. She claims that she woke up one morning face down in the dirt, that she had been removed from her tent and her sleeping bag and apparently had a puncture wound on the back of her neck. And she felt violently ill and emotionless.
I think we call that alcohol poisoning.
A puncture in the back of your neck?
That can happen. When you black out, you don't know what happens.
So because of that, she thought she was bitten by a poisonous spider, but couldn't shake the feeling that something else was responsible. And to make matters even stranger, her friend who was sleeping in a separate camper also woke up with a bite on the back of his neck and also felt ill. The only odd detail to the grandma could recall was seeing red eyes shine through the trees and their flashlights the night prior. Which they initially thought were just deer.
Yes, those red eyes.
But yeah, they said that they were just shining lights. They could see red eyes. That's the only weird thing that they could have said happened all night. But other than that, yeah, that's just weird. Like she just experienced that, but didn't think of anything of it. But I mean, would she think she had just like slept walk or something?
Maybe.
But that would be weird, waking up with your face in the dirt. Maybe she got abducted by aliens, actually.
Maybe.
And then they just completely just
Or it was
tossed
one
her
hell of
out.
a party.
Just tossed her out of the damn UFO.
Could have been one hell of a party. On a
lady-
UFO. UFO party.
Hell yeah. What'd you tell
Deer's
us?
eyes are yellow, by the way, when the lights hit them. So
Yeah,
that's, I mean, maybe they didn't know better.
They didn't know any better.
All right. So one of the strangest and most unexplainable missing person cases to ever happen on Mount Shasta was that of Carl Landers. One night before their visit to Mount Shasta, 3 men would stay together in a motel. They left the motel about 4 a.m. the following day. They were equipped with their ice axes, crampons, climbing clothing, and everything else that they would need to go on this expedition.
They're going in the cold.
Their destination was Bunny Flat, which was an area that was pretty well covered in deep snowdrifts, even into the spring and into May. Now, from there, they would hike 4 miles to Horse Camp. The next night, they would go and camp at a location on the mountain called 50/50 Plateau. One of the climbers, Carl, was taking a drug called Diamox to combat the effects of altitude sickness, which is a real thing and it's very serious. I know people that have it. Mm-hmm. He was also suffering from things like diarrhea and wasn't feeling all that well. He had to leave the tent several times during the night so he can relieve himself. In the midst of this blowing cold gale in the morning, he continued to complain of feeling ill and unwell, and he would leave the 50/50 location without his friends and try to get a head start up towards Lake Helen, as he was feeling cold and under the weather. Both of his friends, Milton and Barry, would watch as Carl just disappeared around the curve of the mountain and became smaller and smaller until he was completely out of sight. They would wait for him to reappear, but he never did. It was as if he had simply just vanished into thin air. Now, both Milton and Barry were worried and confused and sick. This was when Milton and Barry decided to pack up themselves and leave the camp in an attempt to find Carl. All along the way, they would leave their camping gear behind, intending to come back for it later. They set off towards Lake Helen to check weather and snow conditions, and of course, yes. However, after a short while, Barry actually returned to the tent at 50/50 as he too was feeling a little under the weather. At this point, the 3 climbers were now completely separated and now isolated and alone on the mountain. This is a situation that no experienced hiker would ever want to find themselves in. This is why you do the buddy system, and it kind of failed at this point. Now, Milton was successful in getting to catch up to this person, but the person was wearing the wrong clothing and moved way too quickly. So with no luck, Milton decided to head back to the original campsite to meet with Barry and hopefully reunite with Carl. Now, around 5 p.m. in the evening, however, when he arrived, Carl was nowhere to be found and his gear and everything was all still there. Now, Milton began to worry and decided to hike back to Bunny Flats to report Carl's disappearance to the authorities. He left Carl's gear behind just in case Carl might return. While Milton was heading back down around 8 p.m., the news of Carl's disappearance began to spread like wildfire, and the following morning on May 26, 1999, authorities got to work in orchestrating a mass search party for Carl. The Siskiyou County Sheriff's Department actually used a grid pattern search method and helicopters equipped with infrared sensing devices to cover as much ground as humanly possible. The search was conducted by the National Guard and U.S. Forest Rangers. Now, Shasta Mountain Guides volunteered to do some stuff.
So Shasta Mountain Guides and volunteers.
And volunteers from various counties and, of course, members of Carl's own club, the Roadrunners Club. The search party would scour the mountain on ski, horse, and foot. Several professional climbers were even taken to the summit by a chopper to descend the mountain using separate routes. Despite this extensive search, there was still no sign of Carl ever found. There were no footprints in the snow, no traces of his body, his clothing, backpack, supplies, or equipment. None of it was ever found. It was as if he'd just never been in the area at all. It was like he was never there.
That's mind-blowing.
Even Carl's wife had a bad feeling lingering in her gut when Carl had left for that trip and she just felt like something was off. Something was wrong, and she just knew it. The top of the entire search and rescue operation for Carl was a man by the name of Grizzly Adams?
Yeah.
The one,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. How dope is that?
That's, very dope, but they didn't find him, apparently.
Well, yeah, but Grizzly Adams was involved.
Grizzly Adams, like, I'm on this. Now, he was a longtime search and rescue veteran with well over 400 searches and rescue ops under his belt. In fact, Carl and one other individual were the only people ever in all of his 400 plus ops that were never found. Grizz Adams actually said, in his 35 years, I had never had this happen to me. We were all over that mountain. He was not on the mountain. We brought in canines, but they didn't pick up any scent of him. They flew around it and dropped guys at the summit. They came down all sides, and they couldn't find him. They talked to people who were on the mountain. They didn't see him. There's snow around the path where he was, and nobody went outside. So then we're left with really just two theories to this case. First, Carl had orchestrated a disappearance between him and his buddies, making it look like he disappeared, or animals got him.
But even if animals got him, there would have been signs of blood.
Oh, yeah. When the
clothing.
snow's that deep.
Yeah, there would have been definitely signs of animals got him. But it's almost like he just like walked into this tunnel where they watched him walk away, and he just got smaller and smaller and smaller and just disappeared.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they said that with there being 50 to 100 other people around that lake, and they were only going a short distance, and he disappeared in that short of a distance, and nobody else seen him. Out of the 1,500 other people that were out there, nobody saw him.
That's crazy.
And dude just completely vanished. There were some other disappearances that happened there not too long ago, but I heard something about that being false. Like they made up a story about being lost or something.
It happens. Sometimes people are looking for that attention that they're not getting.
But yeah, there was just a whole bunch of stuff going on here with this Mount Shasta. Like, what do you think about the Lumerians? Do you think they actually live in the mountain?
Around it, near it.
You think so?
Sure.
I don't know if I believe in Lumerians.
I don't believe in the Greys. We're even.
All right.
I believe in the Lumerians over the Greys.
I think we should definitely make a stop at Mount Shasta, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because
I've got a couple places in California I want to investigate.
I bet you it's pretty close to like going past Sacramento and up by San Francisco.
If there was only a way to know.
If there's a
no
map
way
we
to
could look
know.
at, we'll never find out.
Yeah, we're screwed.
But yeah, definitely want to check out Mount Shasta and see how, because it sounds like it's got a lot of weird stuff going on there, kind of like Sedona, where they have vortexes and other, try to tap in with their spirituality in the earth. And there's also a lot of like volcanic tunnels underneath. So the thought of this, this guy finding this tunnel full of treasures, I doubt there were treasures. I bet you he just found these lava tubes. That's what they're called, lava tubes. And he found branching off lava tubes. And he probably was like, the only way I'm going to get people down here is if I tell them there's like a bunch of treasures and shit.
That's like that house in California. It's like the mystery house or mystery spot, where there's a couple places around the country, possibly around the world, where like gravity doesn't seem to work the same way.
Well, this also sits on ley lines.
Oh yeah, so that's
so that makes
that's
sense.
what like
why.
the mystery spot does in that house in Oregon, where it's like you can stand like almost completely horizontal.
Yeah, it's weird as shit. I went to one in Texas. There's one in Texas.
They're all over the place.
But yeah, definitely got to check out Mount Shasta for other weirdness, because there's other stories of other weird things that have happened there as well. But like we could go on for way too long. But is there any other crazy events coming up soon? We are still going to go to the Evanston. We still haven't done that yet. That's coming up.
Yeah, that is. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Talk to ghosts.
Ghost man. Anything else?
Are you lost?
No.
Well, if case you are lost, you should go check our social medias at evp.pod, Instagram and Facebook. If you've been to Mount Shasta, you have a story you'd like to share with us, you can email us at evp.pod@gmail.com. That was my radio voice.
I like your radio voice.
You want the radio voice some more?
Give us some more radio voice.
Well, after you go check out our social medias, go to our affiliate link at ghoststop.com, where you can buy some of the Best ghost hunting gear on the market and do all the fun ghost hunting that we do. GhostStop.com.
You heard it here, folks. All right, everybody. Ghosts don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.